this issue. We're joined more by Amir Weitmann. He's the head of the Libertarian Caucus of the Likud party. Amir, thanks for being with us. Good to have you back on the program. Look, this measure was supported by the opposition leaders, Yesh Atid, Lapid's Yesh Atid party. It was opposed by Prime Minister Netanyahu's Likud, the ultra-Orthodox parties, and Yair Golan's left-leaning party. I'm just giving the recap. Benny Gantz's Blue and White abstained from this vote. What's going on in the Israeli politics right now with this very controversial issue?
Well, it's not that controversial. I mean, first of all, I think that the feeling is shared by many, whether the representatives voted for or against. I think we all are outraged. The entire Zionist public in Israel, pretty much everybody but the Haredim, but the ultra-Orthodox, are outraged by their refusal to serve and their insistence on finding ways to actually legalize their draft dodging. This is unacceptable. And I think that when there are new elections in Israel next year at some point, then the coalition which is going to come out of the ballot box next year probably will be without the Haredim, because once and for all, we need to deal with this issue. But having said that, there's I think a difference between saying that the situation is untenable, unacceptable, and needs to be changed, and stripping Haredim and others, by the way, of their civil rights.
Well, I think it comes out of a position of desperation here, because clearly, as you mentioned, this is untenable. The ultra-Orthodox parties and their constituents don't seem to be getting that message. Despite all the activity these last 2 years, they're not coming over to it. No, they don't.
No, they're completely locked in cuckoo land, and they refuse to admit reality. And therefore, this is going to have to happen forcefully. The rest of the Israeli society next year, after the elections, are going to have to find a way to unite and leave them in their opposition and change the situation. But
so you lead me to the next point about the prospect of elections. On Prime Minister Netanyahu, we're left wondering, will he try to push through a draft exemption law right now to hold this coalition together? Will he throw out this largely unpopular sector of politics, move to the center? Is he plotting early elections? Look, what's the Prime Minister's political game right now?
Well, first of all, ideally, the Prime Minister would like, he said it publicly, he would like the Knesset to go to the end, which is late October next year, just under 1 year from now. Ideally, whether it's going to actually happen remains to be seen. It's unlikely, I think.
Unlikely?
I think probably it's unlikely. I think that the elections probably will be between March and June. But of course, this is politics. We don't know, and who knows, But one way or another, it doesn't really make a big difference. It's a few months here, a few months there.
Okay. Well, it might make a big difference to the Prime Minister. He's talking about, or he's looking at, utilizing his political capital or lack of, depending on when the timing may be, right? A lot can happen in the next year. You think it's a long shot that the country, Israel, will come together in some sort of centrist Zionist coalition in the next election?
I think it will happen. I think it will happen.
Okay.
I think, listen, again, this is just my personal opinion. I've spoken with high-ranking politicians, ministers, members of Knesset in the Likud. I think the majority, almost everybody, would prefer for next year a centrist coalition. But the problem is, you need two to do the tango, and the problem is this ridiculous position on the left, which carries on essentially having some sort of a blanket refusal to sit together in a government with Netanyahu.
Has that changed? Look, that definitely led to this current coalition that we have now. I'd agree with you on that point.
Netanyahu has to stop. I think whether they like it or not, Netanyahu is going to have a lot of mandates next year, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, but there's probably no real scenario where the Likud gets less than 20 to 25 seats. So this being the case, the Likud will probably be the largest or the second largest party in Israel's Knesset, even after next elections. You may not like Netanyahu, that's fine, that's democracy, you have the right not to like him, but he's the representative of a very, very large part of the Israeli public, which you cannot do without. So instead of trying to create a coalition next time, which is going to be even more left-wing and more dangerous than the previous one, with their Arab parties, all of them in the coalition, which is what some of the politicians on the center left are plotting, I think the reasonable stuff and the good thing for the state of Israel is to have some sort of a centrist coalition. And it's not me who's going to decide who's going to be the prime minister. It is going to be, or Netanyahu for that matter, it is going to be the citizens of Israel. That's why elections are for. So I think we just have to accept, to respect the will of the people and come together as, unite in one way or another, find a way to work together. And I understand there are trust issues, and I understand people may like or dislike this or that person. It's okay, but we need to find a way to work together. This is the wider interest of the Jewish people, of the state of Israel. That's the right thing to do. And as far as disenfranchising the people who did not go to the army, I think this is not this is unconstitutional. You can't do that. This is too harsh. This is one step too far.